Imagine this. Imagine you've spent the last 6 months, 12 months putting together the perfect activewear collection. You launch and your website goes live and you sell out immediately. Customers are flocking in, they're buying your product, they can't get enough of it. But now all of a sudden you have nothing else to sell. You're leaving a lot of customers high and dry. A lot of customers want your product, but they can't get it. At the same time, imagine this. Imagine you launch products and all of a sudden it doesn't sell out. People just simply are lukewarm about the specific collection. In both scenarios, you are leaving a lot of money on the table. And in both scenarios, you want to make sure that you have accurately forecasted and predicted what products are going to sell and at what rate that they're going to sell. This is the biggest challenge that many brands face. Actually, 73% of brands report that inventory is their biggest issue. Knowing how to manage inventory, when to have it, how much to have of it, when to sell through it is the biggest challenge that you will face, especially as a scaling brand. At the end of the day, you want to give customers what they want. Yes, you don't want to be overly available, but if you're not selling anything to anyone, you're just an exclusive brand without an impact. So how do you make sure that you're buying the right inventory at the right time and you're selling through it at the right rate? This is exactly what we're going to be discovering in today's episode. Number one is understanding that different products have different life cycles. There's some products that are just going to move faster because they're more in demand than other products. It also depends on what time of year you're launching. Actually, look at previous sales data to be able to predict the market cycle. Look at the introduction. So when you introduce it, the growth curve, and ultimately the peak sales, and then the decline. And then use that data that you have from previous products that you've created to be able to predict how products are going to move at any specific moment. Number two is to look at historical sales data for your brand. And this is assuming that you already have sales data to look at. If not, there are a variety of different online resources that you can use to look at different companies, publicly traded companies, sales data, and you can sort of use them as a reference for what experience you may be facing. You need to look at 18 to 24 months of sales data, and you can see and spot trends in terms of which times of year that specific brand is going to have spikes in demand and which times of year you're going to have a lull in demand. Believe me when I say that humans and sales cycles are predictable. Number three is that you also need to clearly identify your bottlenecks in terms of your manufacturing and distribution process and knowing how long it takes you to go from design development into the physical production and putting a product to market. Knowing what that life cycle is of a product or that development cycle of a product is key, because what a lot of brands face is they'll launch a collection and they will have been so focused on actually creating that collection through the design, the development, the sampling, that when they finally get the chance to put their head up for some air, they notice that, oh, I have no more product to sell, and because I've done such a good job with my initial collection, I simply did not put in the time or effort to develop collection number 2, collection number 3, collection number 4. And all of a sudden, all that momentum they built is wasted. And now they have to wait another 6 months and they have to go through another introduction of the brand in order to build up the momentum. Early on in the process, you need to see how long is it going to take me to bring a product from design to sampling to development and bake that into your system. If you know for a fact you've launched collection 1 and you tend to sell out of that collection in around 90 days, but it takes you around 120 days to stock new product. So that means that when you have collection number 1 launched, that's 90 days. You're going to be left with 120 minus 90 days, which is 30 days of no inventory. So you should probably start putting the wheels in motion of collection number 2 30 days before launching collection number 1. Number 4 is that you want to use the 80-20 rule effectively. This is the Pareto principle. And what the Pareto principle specifically says is that 80% of your sales or 80% of the results that you're going to get in any specific endeavor are going to come from 20% of the actions. It's just the way that things skew ultimately. So 80% of your sales are going to come from 20% of your SKUs. These are going to be your best selling and your fastest moving SKUs. Find what those SKUs are and invest heavily into them so that you can continuously offer customers what they're looking for the most effective way possible. Number 5 is that you should test and replenish. This is a small order method by which you actually go and create a new collection, but instead of ordering maybe 5,000 pieces, you might order a small run of 500 pieces of that specific SKU and you quickly test it out. You put a specific timeline in which you want to make sure that it sells out, and if it does sell out, then you quickly reorder, making sure that you've done what's mentioned in steps number 2 and 3, where you're identifying your lead times and you know exactly when you need to order so you have new product in hand. Number 6 is to use this simple formula to know what quantity of inventory you should have at any specific moment. And of course, none of this supersedes what we said before, but it's just a general way to know how much inventory you should have in stock at any given moment. What you want to do is you want to figure out what average number or quantity of sales or products you're selling or moving in any given month. Let's just say it's around 1,000 pieces. Then you need to identify what is your average lead time for that product range. So if it takes you around 3 months to make sure that product is back in stock, then that's 3 months. Then add in an extra 20% of inventory that you want to have as surplus in the event you want to do a sale. Maybe there's an issue with your supply chain. That's how much inventory you need to have. Well, guys, that's it. That is a wrap on this episode. We've seen how industry mistakes and inventory mistakes can cost you heavily and can drastically impact your bottom line. Whether it's in not having enough product to sell or having too much of a product that isn't going to move, both scenarios are scenarios you want to avoid. With the points and the tips and tricks I gave you in this episode, now you have everything you need to be able to avoid it for future inventory runs. If you guys enjoyed this episode, consider smashing a massive thumbs up. It really does help us out. It keeps us motivated to keep pumping out this content for you. And if you want my personal opinion on how you can maximize the impact of your inventory, you can check the link in the description. I offer one-on-one consultation calls every single week, but my slots are limited. So if you are interested, make sure to book that call ASAP. Guys, from the very bottom of my heart, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Fit Design TV. Until next week's episode, stay awesome.